Okay, so Uncle John's chair. I'm going to put this up, this little part first, then the city of Surrey, then my commentary on that. Because, you know, people, like, whatever the city is doing, like, was that gaslighting on a Sunday? Seriously, what you going to see? You know, how convenient, right? You know, I got threats of $9,000 fine with a big truck coming in like that to pick up wood, building materials, Andre's toys. Hold on a minute. The Diabetes of Canada with their truck looking for donations. Everybody's got a truck. So anyway, you tell me how removing a homeless camp, and it wasn't even a camp, because I was just up there the other day picking blackberries and I seen what it was, and it was just a bunch of shit scattered around, that because you're dealing with completely broken human beings. And the reason I came back to talk about that, because one of those broken human beings is my daughter, and my oldest daughter, and you can't imagine how awful I feel about her circumstances right now. Because she's not getting the adequate health care. She's not getting the adequate housing with assisted living. Right? She's not getting anything. And she's not even getting the moral support or family support from the family anymore, because her siblings can't cope with her. And I find it sometimes difficult to cope with her. So basically she wanders around the street homeless these days, right? Picking through garbage, picking garbage up off the street and wherever. And that's what she was doing even when she was here. She was bringing home garbage. It was piling up, people. I was taking, she has this thing for cardboard boxes. I don't know what it is, but she likes a lot of paper. All right, and she looks for old, what are those things called? Gambling stubs and stuff, right? And she'll come home with a big box full of pop cartons that have been squished together among other types of cardboard and that type of thing. I end up just taking it across the street and throwing it into the bins over there, because it was getting to be so much. Right? On top of other miscellaneous things that she'd find on the curbside and she'd bring home. So I'm being punished for that. Okay? Because even though she's not living here, she's still doing it. And if she doesn't do it, it will be another homeless person by the end of the winter, by the end of December. I can almost guarantee you somebody's belongings are going to be in my yard, tucked away behind the shed or whatever, or maybe over there. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't sleep in there at some point, because I've had people sleep in there. They make shelters and they just sleep. Small little shelters that you don't notice unless you're out there with a flashlight every day. So when I speak out, I told my neighbor, I'm not afraid to speak out about the city of Surrey, because the leadership that they have is pathetic. Okay? They attack vulnerable families, as you can see by how they treat me. I've only given my life and blood, and my neighbor has witnessed that. My neighbor has witnessed, more than one neighbor. Several neighbors have seen me out in this yard day after day after day, year after year after year, to the point where I'm starting to lose my health because of it, people. Right? And the city of Surrey wants to use my YouTube channel and my voice and my circumstances and what happened to my stepdad as their means to flex their muscles with their big trucks on a Sunday to intimidate a little boy, so that the grandma shuts up and complies, because they're the new cop on the block. Seriously, what gives these people to right? Unless my landlady's daughter-in-law gave this city of Surrey the right to start walking around this property on that day when we were supposed to meet here together as a team, taking pictures throughout the whole property, because it's beyond the back alley now, right? Like I said, it would be easier just to build a fence, because if I build a fence, he won't bother me, just like those guys 20 feet away. They got a fence and they're not bothering them. The guy with his fence over there with his 3 feet tall grass isn't being bothered, but the guy with his 2 foot grass in a little patch that kind of makes it look nice because it's just off to the side and it gives it a bit of greenery, gets a $3,500 threat. Well, my daughter is dying on the streets. And what little bit that maybe she might have had, whether she goes up there, I don't know, is gone now. Because the city scooped up on it. So, right. And you can guarantee something else will be ending in my yard yet. Whether it's from my daughter or whether it's from some other homeless person. And as for my neighbor moving out, he could sell that stuff. They've liquidated their house. They've had hundreds of people come by and pick up stuff. They didn't have to give me that stuff. They could have sold it. There was other people that wanted it. But they gave it to me because they knew that I was building and I needed it and I would benefit from it. And the city is penalizing me that and making me work twice as hard, even though I'm not very strong and I'm not very healthy right now. Putting the fear in my heart of my grandson, putting the fear in my heart of myself and the rest of my kids. Taking away from the quality of living because some city cop can come onto your property and tell you you can't smoke a cigarette like if you go to a fucking park. I went to a park. I've been going to the park for years, people. 55 years old, going to the park. You sit down, your grandson's playing, you have a smoke. Next thing you know it, the city cops show up and they're threatening you with fine. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that? They're going to come onto your property and tell you can't fucking smoke now? I'm just using that as an example, right? Right? They use the backyard as the excuse to do, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, start going through the whole property? Why all of a sudden 6 weeks later are you interested in the whole property? Because the shed isn't being made fast enough? Because I don't have the fucking money to pay 4 guys to fucking do everything for me so it's done in 2 days, 3 days? Because that's kind of what it boils down to. If you don't have the money, you're hooped. Right? That shed should have been built in 2015 in the spring. Uncle John went missing February 20th. It wasn't even really spring yet. It would have been built by June. It would have been done. I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this crap on the verge of losing my house, on the verge of losing my health. Health, people, health. So I have to pace myself, right? So today I'm going to wash dishes because I made some comfort food with my daughter the other day, my middle daughter, right? And I have to wash the roasting pan and that type of thing. I didn't do it yesterday because I went basically straight outside. But it's been really hot, so if I don't wash it today and everything else that needs to be washed, well, we know what's going to happen with that, right? But that's one less day outside on that chopping block. Right? Because he's still giving me pieces of plywood, people. I'm not talking the cheap shit. I'm talking like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch plywood. Like that door, he gave me I think it was a 3/4 inch piece of plywood that made the door. We're just having a hard time getting it on so that it swings completely open because we don't know how to we spent like a half day trying to figure out how to get that door to work and we still haven't got it on. But I'll tell you something, that piece of wood is a whole lot better than the one that I had, which was only a 1/4 inch. And it goes back to that psychological warfare where you feel guilty because then he threw over another 2 more pieces and I'm like, fuck, where do you got this stuff? Because I can see you don't have much left, but you're still finding it, and he's putting it over the fence for me. And I'm like, okay, I seen that this when I went out to go see the truck, and I'm like, oh, okay, don't panic. Don't panic. Don't feel guilty for someone giving you something that you can use and benefit from at some point in the future in this yard in terms of building. You know, don't feel bad. You know, don't worry. Like Uncle John would say, don't worry. Where are you going to put it? Okay, well, I'm working on this side of the house. Now I've got like 3-4 more pieces of plywood. I'm not going to be stupid, right? And I guess I'm going to lean it up against the wall there because I'm cleaning off that one wall anyway and stringing up the pipes again, right? And whatever else he gave me in terms of gutter material, right? Feeling like a wench. You know, just feeling awful. Feeling awful, not on top of feeling physically, like, exhausted, right? I'm actually curious to ask the doctor to find out, like, what happens with the body when you're constantly overworking it constantly, and you're overlifting things that are beyond your own weight. Like, I use gravity oftentimes to move stuff just because I'm not strong enough to pick it up, right? But it still requires, right, to move it. And then there are sometimes things where I'm having to pull or lift or whatever, because if I don't have the material or whatever it is, right, how, you know, like moving buckets of dirt, for example, right, 1,000 pounds of buckets of dirt in a day, right? More than 1,000 pounds. I've done that. So anyway, I feel guilty for not going outside today. I'm feeling just totally discouraged about everything. Totally discouraged about everything. But I'm actually thinking to, like I said, do my dishes, call it a day. If my daughter comes, my youngest daughter, because she works all the time and she needs a little break too, right? So, I mean, she said she was going to come today. But if she comes today, I think the only thing we're going to do is just start moving those pieces of plywood, because I'm clearing out that there anyway. So I'll just move out the big pallet that I have for an arbor, right? And then I'll lean up those pieces of plywood in there for the ones that we're not using right now at this point, because we're almost done. Now, I may have to cover up that blue foam, play foam, with that wood in the future. Doesn't have to be done immediately, but at some point in the future, just to make it raccoon proof. Like, seriously, like, you know, I don't know. I mean, if I don't have to do it, I probably wouldn't do it. Although it's going to have to be better insulated, where, you know, no mice can get in and that type of stuff, right? So that there you go. I got all that wood, all those sheets of plywood, whatever, you know, whether I board it up from the inside on particular walls, or whether I cover up, just go right up over the blue stuff and leave the blue stuff there for insulation, and then just secure it in so it becomes even more solid and more lasting of time, right? Then I have the wood, people. I have the wood. But I shouldn't be in a panic mode where in 8 days, 8 and 6 is 14. Today's the 8th day. And if I don't go outside, that leaves me 7 days. With them targeting my whole yard now. First it was in the back. Now he's going through the everything. Is he going to factor in that my shed is leaking and that I had to gut it out, and there was shit put underneath the table that I haven't really had a chance to sort out through yet? One, because I'm depressed because I'm tired of my stuff getting wet all the time and ruined. And two, I was planting food. And then three, the city showed up and started harassing me about the back. And if you notice, we have no recourse to protect ourselves outside of thinking of going to take it to court. Right? Because these guys, they give you a 7-day notice. You don't get it until the 5th day. So that gives you 2 days to do whatever it is that they want you to do. But they're not specific about it. Right? And then they try and cut you some slack with the threat of, right, as they're threatening to book the appointment to come in and start taking your stuff at the cost of $9,000. And then you find out that they're now going through the whole property, taking pictures so they can add on to that bill, right? At the instigation of what? What instigated that, people? Was it my landlord's daughter-in-law saying, oh, I've had problems with this tenant before? Because if she's like, you know, playing double fiddle, like seriously, people, like that's what I mean. Like, who's my landlord? Is it the elderly couple that I've been dealing with ever since I first moved in? I didn't even know they had a daughter-in-law that worked for a realtor until just a couple years ago, because I've always been dealing with my landlords. The property was a problem. I have videos of that, people. I have my neighbors as witness seeing me out there every day for days on end, for year after year, month after month, working in this yard to bring it into a state of, like I said, you can grow gardens now. You can actually walk on something solid versus having cat shit in a sand pit. They weren't going to shipload a freaking dump truck full of dirt and start planting grass. They left it for me to decide. That's what my landlady said. I left it, you know, I let you be creative. And now that I've been creative, I've been punished for it, and I'm being punished for it. Because somebody else wants it. Whether they want the profit that will generate when the next people move in and they pay more rent. Because they're not going to be paying $1,700 for this house, people. Not with this shit in the yard. That greenhouse in itself, people will get excited just to move in. You know what Andre and I seen today up by the walnut tree in behind somebody's yard? They caught a raccoon. It was in a little cage. It was crying out loud, trying to get out. And leaning up against their tree, guess what we saw? A whole bunch of windows, which tells us that they're building a greenhouse. So maybe we'll start seeing some more greenhouses being built in the community. It might become popular yet, right? But the first one that builds it, everybody wants to tear it down because they can't have it, right? Or they want to get rid of you so they can find a way to have it. Just like when I was working on a nonprofit, you know? There's always a hater in every crowd. Right? So, anyway, I guess I got what was it? 8 days? Today's the 8th day. I'm going to do dishes. I am thinking of actually shredding that zucchini because I'm just now giving it away. It's going to waste. I have no time to eat it. Right? Even if I give a couple to my kids, right, it's still too much because I wanted to can something. So I may just get it ready for tomorrow morning. And then try and can it tomorrow morning before I go outside. And feel guilty as all hell as I'm being gaslighted on a Sunday for not going outside, putting away building material and washing toys. And working on the shed and the rest of my yard for the next 8 days, 14 hours a day consecutively until I still can't measure up with whatever is going on, because at the end of the day, the city of Surrey criminalizes its residents. And they're selective on who they criminalize, and they use their bylaws to import their Bureau of Land Management cops to threaten, harass you, play judge and jury and prosecutor and jailer.
Someone calling me?
What is this, people?
It's the city.
Like, seriously, what is this? It's like 2 of them out there. See?
There's a garbage truck stopping at next door.
I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, people always...
Maybe they're gonna go get that drywall.
Why is he backing up?
I don't know, but let's move your car.
Huh?
I said, I don't know, let's move your car. Come on. Stand back. What are you guys doing? What are you doing?
Homeless camp in the back that we've been called.
There's a homeless camp?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? In the field over there is like a whole house of drywall. A whole house.
On the field on the other side?
Yeah, you know that big field over there?
Yeah.
Okay, you know the little house and then I'm serious, it will fill up a whole truck.
We're not allowed to take drywall. We have to tell our manager to contact the
Yeah, you do that because it's like,
contractor.
it's massive. It's as big as your truck. The homeless camp, people.
Hi.
Homeless camp. The homeless camp. Homeless people.
Yeah, it's a homeless camp. So,
Why is there homeless in there?
I guess there is. That's what that is. But they're coming after me.
Yeah.
I thought that's what that was today.
And I did that stuff up there.
Oh, they don't want this out here. They want it flat grass. Right? They got to make it look like it's worth $1.5 million to buy this place.
Yeah.
Right? You know 5 houses down it's 1.2 million. Yeah, those Chinese women, right? They're doing it on purpose. Every 4 months they're selling the house and jacking it up. It's the same houses. They have like 8 or 9 of them. They do it all the time.
And my red got stuck up there. My red thing.
Well,
How so homeless to call it that?
homeless
Ground.
people. The homeless people. They're taking down the camp. Tearing up the whatever they've got there. Right. So what that is, people, is it's the at the end of the property where they just cut down all the apple trees and the cherry trees and that kind of stuff. And it's at the end where that mattress was, remember? So I would suspect that the mattress is going to go, and I don't know who owns the alley, right? What? It's public environment, sir. I'm not videotaping you. So here comes the mattress, people. There's the mattress.
Daddy, don't go there.
Everybody's being a looky-loo.
Homeless there?
Yeah, it was homeless people, right? That people don't care. I don't know where they're going now. Okay, so I was just showing my neighbor who works for the city, or used to anyway, and she was saying that the city truck doesn't come out on a Sunday to do this kind of stuff, if they're going to be removing this kind of stuff. But I showed her the fence there with all the garbage in it, and I'm thinking maybe it's just easier if I build a fence.
Yeah.
Just put a fence. All the garbage is over there. They're not coming with the trucks for that garbage, but they want to come in here. You're giving me wood, and they're coming next, and they're threatening to come with their truck and take the wood that you're giving me away because I'm not putting it away fast enough for them. Plus, I'm building, right? So I thought those trucks were for me today to come and get this stuff, as you're being kind enough to give to me, right? He gave me something for my roof up here. Can you see it? It's right there. It's some sort of an asphalt. And because I have the tar paper, I just have to find my staple gun, put down the tar paper, and then I can start laying that. Plus, I've got a few shingles.
Yeah. Need more
That's okay. I got some shingles too.
Jimmy's going.
Is this intimidation or what, man? Like, this is right in front of my yard. Like, what do they want? Tires. They're picking up tires. Picking up tires! Okay, people. I'm going to call this one Gaslighting on a Sunday. It is August 6, 2017. And those trucks, there was two of them. The dump truck part, and then that kind of squishy kind. Like a garbage truck, only painted white. Where the other one was just a flatbed with the sides on it to throw whatever. And they were like right in front of my house. Andre seen them, had me go outside. And I thought for sure that was the axe people. Definitely like gaslighting techniques, don't you think? Quite intimidating, don't you think? Anyway, my neighbor who used to work for the city, right? It's not that she doesn't want to work, she's just has some health issues that she can't work right now. She says she doesn't understand this wrath that's being placed upon my yard compared to what's in the fence there. Like, seriously, it would be easier just to build a fence. And then they'll leave me alone. Because anyone that's got a fence, they don't seem to bother. Right? Or at least it appears like that over there. And over there with the tall grass, where behind the fence the grass is 3 feet high, but right next to the fence the guy is getting a $3,500 notice from the city to cut the grass. Where the fence next to that property is 2 feet high, with a bunch of morning glory going into bud to spread more morning glory around the community. Right? There's that checkered board chest. So I'm not, like, I'm serious, people. I've given my life to this yard so that my family could have the greenhouse and the pond and be able to grow vegetables and have the playhouse with the proper shed and other shedding for other storage purposes, and you know, and even the hen house, aka seedling room, which is going to be really nice when it's done. In terms of, you know, you can put your planter pots out there with the oak trees and that type of thing, and they can be weather conditioned to the natural elements without being in an actual greenhouse completely enclosed. Right, because it can, you know, the temperatures can fluctuate so much, but where trees, they just go into hibernation. So, you know, once you kind of put the pot where the pot is for the first couple of years, assuming that it gets enough sunlight, right? Because that area where I had the potatoes, I can open that up and make it into a growing room for trees, you know, endangered trees, like oak trees and that type of thing, right? For at least while I live here, but not if my stuff is going to get raided on a Monday. Because my neighbor said, oh, well, they won't come in onto your property on a weekend. They'll come in during the week. But because it's on a curb, in a curbway, right, they'll do it on a Sunday. Because there's so much, because there's a lot of illegal dumping going around. She said on one block area, like in one particular area, it cost the city $800,000 just to remove illegal dumping. And it happens all the time, as you can see with that drywall in the field over there, which requires a special truck. Because the city dude over there said that's not what they pick up. They have to tell the manager, and then the manager books in another special truck to pick that stuff up. Right? Assuming that the owners don't do it. But are the owners even aware? That's what I said to my neighbor. Are they even aware that that stuff? She says, yeah, but it's up to the owners to be checking it. And I says, yeah, I suppose. But if you have overseas buyers that are just buying for investment purposes, you know, it's like kind of hard for them to check up on it all the time. So anyway, physically, I'm like really, really worn out, people. Like, it's been too many years. And with this whip on my back, I'm having to work twice as hard again, right? With limited time, as I'm being accused of being irresponsible. I'm basically being accused of being irresponsible for accepting quality building material, wanting to build a shed correctly, with the adequate materials and the right-minded person that knew how to make a solid structure that would last. And for wanting to keep my grandson's toys only because that's all we have, and little soap and water can go a long way, and he's still playing with them. In addition to, I do have another grandchild coming up, going to be born soon. So in a couple of more years, that playhouse is going to be important, assuming that I live here. And assuming that my health keeps up. Right? So I'm really worn out today. I really technically should go outside because I've only got 9 days left. Right? And being told that the city is running around taking pictures of my whole yard now, that means that they're jumping back on that bandwagon, and they used the back alley, a wash machine that sat out there for 2 weeks, me bringing in $400 worth of building material from Home Depot to start working on the shed again, a bunch of scattered toys, and a garbage bin that was being used to fill up the garbage as it was being picked up to be put in a bag to be thrown into the garbage, right? Among a few other miscellaneous items that could be classified as junk. So I don't know. I'm like not feeling very well, people.